Instructions, all you people saying, light the fire under their feet and make them honor the law of the land, the Constitution. Thank you very much for listening.
All right. Yeah.
Thanks, Ed. Let's hear it for him. Our next speaker was also a delegate to the Continental Congress. Not only was he a delegate from Iowa, he also spoke at this very location 1 year ago today. In 2002, he ran for governor of Iowa.
I remember him.
Co-author of a book called Restoring the Heart of America, which was endorsed by Ron Paul. He's also the founder of Restoring the Heart of America, and check out his website at restoringtheheartofamerica.com. Big Chicago welcome for Clyde Cleveland.
Yay!
Thank you all. Thank you for coming. Thank you for caring about our country. We are in a very, very, very critical time right now. We have people all over the country who are finally waking up and realizing that our country is being stolen from us. I want to start with a quote, a very, very prophetic quote written in 1700 from Thomas Jefferson. If the American people ever allow private banks to control the issue of their currency, first by inflation, then by deflation, the banks and corporations that will grow up around them will deprive the people of all property until their children will wake up homeless on the continent their fathers conquered. Amen. Now, he said that 230 years ago. How prophetic was that? What are those corporations that grow up around the Federal Reserve that are part of the criminal conspiracy? Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, Solomon Brothers, AIG. And guess what, folks? You all just paid them $12 trillion of your money! And your money! $12 trillion! Now, how much is that going to make your money worth? A whole lot less. When that $12 trillion that went to those criminals that are part of this and are connected with the Fed, when that money starts to go through our system, your money will become worth less and less. Imagine this. Imagine you're in Indonesia and you're sitting on a mountaintop and you see the water in the ocean start to go out, start to leave the beaches and go out into the ocean. What did those people know was coming?
Tsunami!
Anybody?
Tsunami!
A tsunami! We have a financial tsunami that is coming to this country within the next couple of years of hyperinflation. You can't put $12 trillion into this economy without causing massive inflation. They have devalued all the money in your bank account, and your currency and your wallet and your savings have become devalued. That's what the Federal Reserve does. That's what Jefferson was talking about. By inflation and by deflation, they steal our money. This is a 100-year-old plan that is now coming to fruition. And that's what's happened. Let me read you one other quote by John Maynard Keynes, the architect of Keynesian economics. The economic system, I call it the economic system of consumption. It has no basis in natural law. But he has, every once in a while, he said something that was true. Listen to this. By a continuing process of inflation, governments can confiscate secretly and unobserved an important part of the wealth of their citizens. There is no subtler, no surer means of overturning the existing basis of society than to debauch the currency. The process engages all the hidden forces of economic law on the side of destruction and does it in a manner which not one man in a million is able to diagnose. John Maynard Keynes. He told the truth there. And that's what's happening to all of us because of the Federal Reserve and the government that is complicit with the Federal Reserve. We should not allow any senator or congressman that voted for any of those bailouts to remain in office.
Yeah!
You need to work. You need to work. Everybody needs to work hard to get every senator and every congressman who voted for those bailout funds out of office now. and we can do it. And they should be tried for treason. That's a very good point. It's treason against the Constitution. Now, Ed was telling you about our Continental Congress. I just spent 11 days there. Everybody raise your hand who was at the Continental Congress. There's about 25 of us here. They're from all over. These guys are from Maine. 48 states sent 3 delegates. We had about 130 people from all over the country. We sat in a room for 11 days. We sent instructions to Congress, to the states, to their state legislators, telling them to end the Federal Reserve now and go back to silver and gold currency. The point is, folks, is that our Constitution never allowed the Congress to delegate or abrogate their responsibility to manage our monetary system and our system of credit. It's their responsibility. They have no authority to delegate that in the Constitution. Yes. We can take it back. Through Congress, we can get them to eliminate the Federal Reserve and go back to sound money now. Yes. So, I'm not going to spend any more money. You guys can read about this. I'm going to tell you what to do, though, so you can take action to get this done. 1, go to cc2009.us. That's cc2009.us and learn about what we did in the last 11 days. If you can support us and support all those delegates from all over the country, we can get rid of this Federal Reserve. But it's going to take we think about 15 million people to sign on to what we did and help us out. And you guys go back to your states, go back to your state legislators, go back to everyone you know, and tell them about CC2009, cc2009.us. Then read End the Fed by Ron Paul. Yeah. How many people have read End the Fed by Ron Paul? Get End the Fed by Ron Paul, buy 10 copies, give them to your friends, have them do the same thing. It's a fantastic book. Ron Paul is trying to audit the Fed. Get this, folks. Ron Paul has over 300 co-signers on his bill right now in the U.S. Congress to audit the Federal Reserve. But guess what? That thing has been sitting in committee for months. Barney Frank and Nancy Pelosi are doing everything they can to kill that bill. Now, it finally made it out of committee last week, but now guess what? Now they're attaching it to bills that nobody else could vote for. Ron Paul can't vote for it because his bill is being attached to other ridiculous spending bills. So we have to put pressure on our congressmen to audit the Fed. Once the Fed is audited, folks, this whole thing gets exposed. Guess what? 100 years, the Fed has never been audited. Never. In 100 years. Now, does that sound like a government organization? It's never been audited? It's a private bank. It's a private corporation. It's not even a bank. It's owned by private individuals. We have to get rid of it. Read this. CommonSenseRevisited.com. CommonSenseRevisited.com. Buy 100 copies and give them to everybody you know. How many people here have read Creature from Jekyll Island, A Second Look at the Federal Reserve? You got to get that book everywhere. Last May, I was in the room where in Jekyll Island, in the room where Frank Vanderlip and Paul Warburg and Nelson Aldrich all sat. Under a fireplace, there's a big picture of all those guys that created the Federal Reserve in that room. It's not a conspiracy theory, folks. I was in the room where they did it. Their picture on the wall. It's not a conspiracy theory, it's a conspiracy fact. It has been perpetrated on you and all the American people. So let's get to work. Let's get educated and educate our friends and get rid of the Federal Reserve. End the Fed! End the Fed! End the Fed! End the Fed!